A teenager just beat the best Sheik player in the world with Donkey Kong. Didn't I kind of just make this video? Whatever. A couple months ago, a 14-year-old Donkey Kong player beat Ossify, number 20 in the world. I made a video about it, it got some traction, but I'm sure most people assumed it was a miracle. But then, about a month later, he ran into Jmook. Currently the number 7 best player in the world, the guy behind what's still considered the greatest Cinderella run in Melee tournament history, one of the only solo Sheik players on the planet to win a major in over 20 years of this game, and arguably the best Sheik alive, and strictly by the rankings, he is just the best Sheik. Oh, and he's also technically my teammate on FlyQuest, I guess, so woo! But this high schooler beat him with Donkey Kong. You guys already memed on me for making like 20 videos about Junebug, but the one thing June had continuously brought up to me was that this matchup is absolutely, undeniably, without a doubt, terrible. I hate to say I told you so, but I kinda already said this was gonna happen. In one of my last videos on DK, I said the top players were gonna have to study up on the ape, the same as how they had to for Junebug. I just didn't expect a teenager to be the one proving it this fast. Thank you to Manta Sleep, who is paid to be mentioned in today's video. So I've talked about Manta Sleep a couple of times now on the channel, and honestly, every time I do one of these integrations, I realize I'm just genuinely gushing about a product I was already using before the company ever reached out to me. I bought my first Manta mask before a trip to Europe, bought a second one because I just really liked it that much, and now I basically own their entire lineup, so yeah, I guess you could say I'm a fan. Manta offers a ton of different mask options, like their new gen sound sleep mask with speakers so you can listen to my 15th video about Luigi as you drift off to sleep, or a weighted mask which is nice for relaxation, and the eye cups are literally engineered for side sleeping. They even have a steam cup that you can throw in for some heat therapy, which I've been using a lot lately. My girlfriend just started doing this really awesome thing where if she wakes up before me, she turns on every single light in our apartment and then just leaves the room. So the total blackout on these masks have been a game changer for when she's going absolute gremlin mode on my ass. So if you're interested, you can use my promo code WALT at checkout or go to the link in the description and you'll get 10% off your order. And if you get anything with my link, I'll also get a small commission for that as well, so thanks for helping me out. Thanks again to Manta Sleep for supporting the channel. Get yourself a good night's rest when you're done watching my videos, of course, and I hope you enjoyed today's video. Alright, so let me just get this out of the way since it's been a minute since I have truly Kong posted. As subscribers of the channel may already know, I am extremely biased when it comes to stories like these. Mid and low tier gameplay is genuinely one of my favorite things about Melee. The idea that anyone can just pick up a new character and forge a brand new path in a game that has had 0 balance patches is just so awesome to me. I'll also admit that I'm a bit late to this, but you know, posting regular videos like the same week stuff happens absolutely destroyed my sleep schedule in the past, and I'm trying to be, like, healthier, I guess? So hopefully you guys can forgive me. Anyway, let's start with a bit of background here. The first official Melee tier list in 2002 placed Donkey Kong at 20th out of 26 on the roster. The ape was certainly not considered a good character, but the same could have been said about characters like Jigglypuff and Yoshi, who started near the bottom of the tier list and climbed their way up thanks to some dedicated players. More importantly, why was he top 5? Why'd he do that? Anyway, the early days of Melee had players like Bum, who had held the record for the highest placement DK had ever seen with a 4th place at MLG Long Island in 2007. And then in 2023, the floodgates were open when my friend Wistoons released the Donkey Kong Renaissance, an hour-and-a-half long documentary about the rise of the Planet of the Apes of the Super Smash Bros. Melee of the Nintendo GameCube. It got a lot of traction, but one of the largest segments was about my other friend, Junebug, formerly the best Project M player in the world. June ended up taking the record for highest DK placement away from Bum with his 3rd place at Supernova 2024, and it still holds up as one of the best runs the character has ever gone on. But with June basically retiring from competition, the question then became who would take up the mantle. And the answer came from a kid out of Colorado named Dial M, who rose to prominence last year with some solid showings at online tournaments, and then really showed out at that Genesis X3 I mentioned earlier. Oh, also he was apparently top 10 in the world at Nickelodeon All-Stars Brawl, so that's rad. But anyway, that brings us to now. So we're at Cashbox 21, Hungrybox's online tournament series. I made a short to quickly recap this tournament, and Salt ended up winning the whole thing, but the real story from this event came from the new kids on the block, Rap Monster and Dial M. I don't really think you guys need me to explain Rap Monster at this point. Y'all probably remember I have at least 1 to 1,000 more videos about Luigi in the chamber, so I'm just gonna focus on Dial M for this one. Real talk though, the top 8 of this tournament was honestly pretty wild, with some of the coolest character variety I've seen seen in a hot minute. We had Falcon, Luigi, Jigglypuff, Pikachu, Fox, Falco, and Donkey Kong in top 8, which is 7 unique characters out of 8 players. But in a cruel twist of fate, Dialem's Cashbox began with the face-off against his fellow teenage trailblazer Rat Monster in winner's quarters. Luigi and DK facing off in the Big 2-6 is already a movie in itself, but Rat Monster took that one 3-1 and sent Dialem down into the losers bracket. From losers, Dialem beat a couple more players before finally reaching Jmook, who had actually taken an upset loss to Axe to be there in the first place. And as for Jmook, he made his breakout in 2022 at Genesis 8, where he placed second in what is known as Melee's greatest Cinderella run, and just 9 months later he won his first major at Genesis 9. Since then, Jmook's been consistently ranked within the top 10 with only a single summer ranking where he fell below that threshold at rank 15. Dialem, on the other hand, has not been globally ranked yet, but it's almost a certainty he gets onto the summer rank for 2026. So what matters more for this upcoming match, aside from the ranking discrepancy, is just the fact that Sheik DK is generally seen as a very, very Sheik favored matchup. Sheik is often viewed as like a gatekeeping character to mid and low tiers in general because her game plan can be just really simple to execute against characters with limited options. But the biggest thing of note is just how effective grabs are on both sides of this matchup. Because DK is heavy and large, Sheik can just grab him and re-grab him at pretty generous percent windows. The more or less guaranteed damage Sheik gets from a single grab is brutal and doesn't really require any particularly difficult execution. On the other hand, DK's grabs versus Sheik are also quite good though. Grab into punch kills at stupid percents, which get even lower if you're doing techs like the 8 or 9 wind. And because DK is heavier, he can win out in CC battles more often than not. The reason this matchup is so skewed towards Sheik is because it tends to boil down to the player who grabs more wins more, but Sheik just has an overall easier time grabbing. So how did Dialem do it? I think the lopsided punish game that exists on both sides of this matchup really exemplifies how hard you have to hit to be successful as DK in this matchup. Yes, punish as DK is easy, there's no real sugarcoating for that, but exactly how you net a grab or a juicy opener is the biggest question. Like I said before, DK being heavy lets you CC to pretty high percents, but good players will just grab when you're crouching. We see in the first few stocks of this set the easiest way to confirm grabs or kills, which is to force it off an edge guard. This is one of Sheik's most glaring weaknesses in a lot of matchups. If you get a Sheik off stage, you can simply just hold the ledge and force them to recover high onto the stage. If Sheik lands on stage after her up B, she incurs a lot of frames of landing lag, which is typically plenty of time for almost any character to flowchart a punish. Check this one out, not from a Sheik recovery, but just a simple shield grab. Jmook gets a little too antsy attacking the platform, shield grab finds the ninja, and cargo up throw punch kills at 66% before the hit. The first and last stocks of Game 1 kind of showcases this too, but with what happens when the Sheik gets too high percent to convert into punch, and the answer is probably just forward air. I talked a good bit about Dialem's use of forward air in a previous video, but I find it fascinating because on paper it is just like not that good of a move. It is literally the slowest aerial in Melee, and that in combination with DK being an enormous hurt box makes it quite reactable and quite punishable. However, in that Ossify set where I first mentioned it, Dialem used forward air to great effect in both advantage and disadvantage. You can use it intentionally as a slower move to change up the tempo, or as a way to go over the top on some jumps or pokes. You can even option into SDI down since the button is just so damn long. The DK Discord compared it to a Dark Souls boss, saying if they give bosses attacks with really long windups, they can bait people into preemptively dodging. For the Sheik matchup, DK's fair probably matters the most for conversions off of cargo throw versus just like straight up neutral wins. I actually think Dialem was showing more down air throughout this set to try to play above the Sheik instead of like diagonal to the Sheik. The stomp conversions actually appear to net Dialem longer punishes too. Let's look at this one from the start of Game 3 as an example. We see some similar platform positioning as the earlier games, but this time Jmook is making the correct adaptations around the on-platform mind games. First, he double jumps to bait the first shield grab on platform, and if we pause right here, we can see Dialem just like spamming the A button to try to force another shield grab through, which gets him hit again. Then a rising nair from Jmook hits and forces Dialem to slide off despite him holding down, so if the platform were a teensy bit longer, I would imagine a grab was probably coming there too. But after jumping back to platform and blinking the shield for a few frames, instead of trying to grab again, Dialem goes for a short hop stomp out of shield. We can even see Jmook trying to play around another grab by jabbing here to stuff the option, but it just gets completely blown up with the jump over. On a platform, this dare is actually pretty nutty because you can full drift it to the side to get an edge cancel into up air string, but Sheik missing the tech on the platform results in functionally the same outcome. dialm takes this one all the way to 95% and forces the Sheik recovery into another punish, this time a stomp from ledge into forward air to close out the stock. So overall, it seems like these two aerials are more often serving different purposes in this matchup. Stomp as the slower tempo-changing neutral device, and fair as the stock ender when punches off the table. DK up B is still good as ever, by the way. I don't really know if I need to devote an entire segment to it, but very quickly, it's just a really dummy good move in a lot of situations, and it definitely netted a lot of KOs here, even earning him the Game 4 win. But despite going the distance, the game plan remained the same. Game 5 on FD, where the punish game is turned up to 11, means any offstage is likely good for the player who's still on stage. With dialm up a stock to spare, he finds a couple grabs, even opting for a shield grab back throw to force that very interaction. Jmook swapped to Zelda, has to recover on stage, and that same stomp into fair is ripe for the taking, so I'll just let dialm speak for himself.
History! Fuck yeah! Yes! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Yes! Yes! Fuck yeah! Oh my god!
The story of Melee in 2026 has been defined by a surge of young, new talent entering the game. dialm is 14 years old, maybe 15 by the time this video comes out, and at this Cashbox, he lost to Rat Monster on the same night he beat Jmook. His reward for that achievement was to play Hungrybox, a player I've described as the gatekeeper to New Blood, and dialm took him to last stock Game 5 too.
Anyway, thought he was kind of got a little bit too late. Up smash kills, wow. Dang.
Yeah,
Wait
and
for
Cashbox takes it.
You wanted a good tournament. I mean, this might not even be like a top 3 set so far. That was an absolute banger.
Put a DM for dialm. That kid's the future of the game. I see him being top 5 in the world. No question about it. He is so fucking good. I'm proud of you, Artie. I hope you keep entering, bro.
Regardless of it being online, doing all of this at this age with Donkey Kong is an incredible achievement. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Top players are going to have to study up on the ape. No longer can you rest your laurels on matchup knowledge of top tiers. Yes, there will always be Fox and Marth and Sheik in almost any bracket you play in, but I'm starting to think it goes a little bit further than that with that little green plumber guy going pretty far in tournaments. There are teenage Donkey Kongs and Luigis and who knows what else out there waiting to be discovered. Players who don't listen to what the agreed upon wisdom says their character is capable of. And right now, they're finding out that the answer is a lot more than anyone could have ever expected. This is the part where I CTA you and ask you to perform an action, but yeah, if you're not subscribed, I really don't know what you're waiting for at this point. I've been putting out weekly content on all things Smash, and as those of you who have subscribed already have already made fun of me for, these kids are producing infinite bangers. It's like content after content, video after video, because they're just so damn good. So I don't know, you should subscribe. But anyway, this new generation of Melee has just really thoroughly impressed me, and I truly cannot wait to see what comes next. Thanks for watching. Big thanks to my top tier patrons and YouTube members. Check out those links if you feel like supporting the channel and more importantly have the disposable income to do so. Thank you to Avishua Stein, Bobby Wasabi, Brent Mukai, Carter Roberts, Dark Genex, Eric is Cool, Gustavo Cantu Fernandez, James Fabman, Justin Duncan Mills, Kyle Carlin, Marshall Bradley, Michael Talamo, Prakar Sinha, Rosewood, and Sam Wright.